Hi, it's Mark from Value again. Today I'm going to show you how to do the post-incorporation setup. If you click over here, this will bring you to the dashboard where I am. Once you're there, you'll click on the company that you want to work on. We're going to continue with Mark Technology Labs, Inc., a company incorporated in Delaware. Okay, now that I'm on the company, I can click the menu over on the left, do post-incorp setup, and we're started. Okay. I need to convert some basic information about the company. This is correct, so I'm just going to move on. Okay, I need to set the effective date for this post-incorporation setup. In most cases, this is going to be the date of incorporation, but if you have some reason for doing a different date, then you could do that here. You also need to set the fiscal year end for the company. In most cases, that's just going to be the end of the year in which the company was incorporated. So we'll do December 31. Now I've got the addresses for the company already from the incorporation that we did in a couple videos ago. But if I wanted to change them, I could do that here. But they're correct, so we'll go on. Now we need to set the size of the board. It's common for startups to do 3 seats on the board at the very beginning, even if they don't actually fill all those seats. Maybe they only fill 1. But otherwise, it gives some flexibility of adding directors without much effort. And then you want to set the date that this board becomes effective. That's usually the date of incorporation. Now we need to add the directors that will be on the board. So I'm going to add myself as a director. I'm going to add another person. Select the domicile state for this person. Here it's New York. Okay. Now I've got both of these directors selected. So let's go to the next step. Now I need to add officers for the company. So I'll be the president, and I'll be the treasurer. Catherine here will be the secretary, and she'll be the CEO. Now that I've got all 4 selected, or I could add another person if I wanted another person to be in one of these roles, I could do that here. I'll go to the next step. In this step, I'm just confirming the person that incorporated the company. Since I did it through Value, it already knows it. I'm already selected, so we're good there, and we can just go to the next step. Now we need to add the individuals who will be shareholders. You can add a new person if you'd like, or select these individuals, 1 or more. So I'll do both Mark and Catherine. Okay. So for the people that are going to be founders, I may want to do an employment agreement or a consulting agreement or an advisor agreement, some relationship. So in this case, I'll do myself as an employee. Catherine is going to be a consultant. I could also skip this step, not add them at all if I didn't want to do any agreements with those founders like that. Okay, now I need to add contact information for those people that are involved in the company. So let's go do that quickly. Great. And I need to make sure that I add an email address. So I'm actually going to do a different one here. And so now we have addresses for both Mark and Catherine, so let's go to the next step. Okay, now we need to set the number of shares that are going to be issued to the founders. So with this company, I've authorized 10 million shares. That's the total number that are available. So it's common to do something like issue half of those shares. So initially we have 5 million shares here. If you wanted to change that, you would just hit this button and you could change that number. And then the price that's going to be paid for those shares. Very common at the early stages of a company when no value is created to have a very, very low price. In this case, we are doing 1/1000th of a penny. You could change this if you like. Again, this number is going to be multiplied by this number to set the amount that's going to be paid for those shares. So let's go to the next step. Now we're going to allocate the stock among the founders. So for Mark, let's say he is getting 50% of the stock, and the numbers are automatically calculating. And I'm going to pay technology for it. I say already created a website, and what I'm going to be doing is contributing that technology. Let's say Catherine she's also getting 50%. She hasn't created any technology. Let's say she's going to pay cash. Okay. Then I would go to the next step. If I wanted to change the dates that they're purchasing it, I could do that there as well. One thing to note on the dates, though, if the founder is going to file an 83B election, which is an election associated with vesting, then that election must be filed within 30 days of the purchase and transfer. So, if you select a date too far back, then you may blow that 30-day period. So you want to be careful there. Now we're going to decide whether there's any vesting. So for me, let's say I'm vesting. We can set the vesting start date, which is usually the date when I started working on the project. And the schedule. I'm just going to select a standard schedule here. If I want to include acceleration, I can do that here. I think what I'll do, it's common to do double trigger acceleration, add maybe, say, a year. And we'll confirm this one's correct. Now let's go to Catherine. Let's say Catherine is not subject to vesting, and we'll confirm hers is correct. Okay. Now some of the documents are being generated right now. So now we're going through the documents that have been generated and confirming some of the information. If you want to go in and type and change these things, you could do that. Generally, the information is correct. So let's confirm this is okay. I will be filing an 83B election for my stock. Now, Catherine is not subject to vesting, so she doesn't need to file an 83B election. I'll confirm hers is correct, and she's paying cash here. That's listed here. Okay. Now I come to the service agreements, the employee agreement, the proprietary information and inventions agreement, and the consulting agreement. So for the employee, I'm going to be a developer. That'll be my title at the company. And I'm going to report to the CEO. My salary is going to be $40,000 a year. And part of my consideration will be the fact that my stock is vesting. I'm not also getting options, so we'll leave that at no. This offer letter is going to be governed under New York state law because that's where the company is located and that's where I'm located. The offer letter, let's say, expires in about 2 weeks, and the must-start date is in, again, about 2 weeks. The company's telephone where I can, this employee can call would be, this number. You could change that if you like. Confirm that information is correct. Here we've got the proprietary information and inventions agreement. Go through here. I'm going to include a non-compete because we're in New York and non-competes are generally allowed. Other states, you want to check with it, may not allow it. For example, California does not allow non-competes. And this other information I can change as well. If I have technology that is maybe related to the technology I'm contributing to the company that I want to make sure the company doesn't get, I would put that here. But it's common just to leave this as none. Confirm the information is correct. And then go to the consulting agreement. So for Catherine, she's also in New York. So we're going to subject her to a non-compete. It's typically required of venture capitalists as well. So you probably want to do that to protect the company. If I wanted to get detailed on what services she's providing to the company, I would do that here. What's here right now is basic information that is broad and works. If I wanted to describe how long the services will last or change that, I could do that here. And if I wanted to describe in detail what kind of remuneration or payment she would receive, I would do that here. Here it's just very general language that works for most people, but if you want to get more specific, there are some options right here that you could choose from. You could cut and paste, or you could mix and match. But generally, we're just going to leave that the same. If I wanted to change the governing law state or the state where arbitration would occur, I would do that here. Confirm the information is correct. And that's all of the agreement, so let's go into the next step. Okay, now we're going to set the a description of the technology that's being transferred to the company. Now, I said in a previous step that what I'm paying for my shares is technology. This is the agreement that makes that transfer. So I want to describe that technology. Here is a very general description. If I wanted to get more detailed, I could add some information there. Like I might list specific databases or specific domain names or specific copyrights or patents if I have any of those. I could put that here. Otherwise, I can just leave the general language. Confirm this information is correct. Go to the next step. Okay, so these documents are going to be circulated to the individuals that you've added here. The ones that they need to execute will be sent to the email address that you put in here. If you want to change it or add it, you could change the email address here or change the individual that is signing these documents. So tab through these, make sure you're okay with that. There's also a default expiration date of when their signature packet will no longer be available to them, so you can change that if you like. If you don't want to send out signatures at all and just download paper documents and work that way, you could just say no, the whole thing will disappear and it won't be sent out. We're going to use the signature process. So I'm going to say yes, go to the next step. Now I can review the documents, make sure everything is correct. So here's the information. After I've reviewed this, I want to also go look at the relationships that have been set up. Got the directors here. Confirm this is correct. And go to the next step. This is the payment screen where you're going to enter your credit card information. After that, we'll go to the review screen. Okay, now that I've added my payment, I'm going to go through and confirm the information is correct again. If it is correct, then save and finish. And the documents will then, they take a minute to generate, but they're working on it. And the emails will be sent out. You should get an email if you sent yourself a signature packet. And I'll do a separate video on signing those documents. But otherwise, this is a post-incorporation setup. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, moblad@valq.co. Or otherwise, I hope this is helpful. Thanks.